Welcome to The Real News, coming to you from Baltimore. Union speech on Tuesday stated that no greater threat to the climate change. NASA and NOAA was the hottest year on record of the 15 years. 14 were the warmest history. Let's have
14 warmest years on record, first 15 years of this century. I match the evidence by saying that we don't have scientists either. I know a lot of really good science, and at NOAA, and the best scientists that our activity.
with us, President Obama stated the Union climate change crisis. Joining us from New York is a longtime environmental physics and chemistry at PERI. He's the author of Ecology Solutions to Capitalism. Also, Massachusetts is Robert Pollin, professor of economics, of the political economy at the University of Massachusetts. He's the author of two for Green Growth, Energy Transformation. Joining us.
Thank you.
Let me start with you by getting you Obama's State of the Union.
There really was in the sense that climate is a prominent one in which President has, look, I'm going to, and I'm going to use my proceed with, regardless of what the Republic. He didn't really go into more vague generality, including of the fact that the U.S. emissions and they're going to stabilize is favorable. It's a lot better than not doing. The U.S. who represent emissions, they have cuts. I mean, abstractions in the rate of to make absolute cut 40 to 50 to 20 years in order for the chance of achieving. That's how serious it is. If we did, as previously said, we by about 40%. It was disappointing not come out much and say, I'm going to push my agenda. If I don't do that, it's never going to achieve our emission statement. In that sense, it was a there.
Chris, what the president stated?
I agree that he didn't knew, and they don't need laws to regulate 2007 EP rulings. It illustrates that the president regulate CO2, and so. But that I was surprised that he only talks because that is the biggest civilization. Time is what he does talk about. Expansion of energy production has almost doubled 6 years. Of fossil fuels, oil and gas. New trade deals, partnership, which will actually undermine any economies to this path because it's damaging the environment. And so restricted access. The new trade offer unrestricted access, continue plundering cost of the environment and living thing on the. There was nothing new, and mentioned climate change as a undermined his own argument, carry on producing fossil fuels deals. And I'm frankly quite the two biggest polluters on the planet agenda for some aspects, but are not actually to them. What we need is radical reductions starting in time off in the far futurized, as opposed to, because we know that stabilization of increase.
Bob, that President Obama longer and a firmer position. Crisis and climate change. What did you mean by that?
And, if I acknowledge that climate change is a threat to civilization and to the, down a path of suicide here, or potentially. I mean, he does talk rhetoric. If he's going in those terms, then he'll go up by say, massive change now that will enable emissions in the range as before, 40 to 50. China, as we've talked about the Real News Network, achieving those goals is entirely and actually with jobs. It would be good in the United China because we're going to renewable energy, and those are going to generate jobs that are lost in the fossil. So say that and say something that is to working, and it's going to be a path that we have to get, and it's for that we have to also. It is going to be bad for the fuel industry. The fossil fuel industry massively, the creatures that are tied to the transitional policies for them. Kazaki, the late great labor we used to call for workers. That's what we need. And everyone would like fossil fuel industry.
Stated that might go a long way emissions, but in our on the Real News, you had said the technology that is reduction levels. They had stated in the agreement on that. Were you?
Just in terms of some of the reduction plans, based illustration is not a commercially available sense of the term. Here that we can carry burning fossil fuels side as long as we in enormous quantities, the basis on which the fossil continue to grow. Predictions about are not fossil fuels, but in finding out more environmentally friendly. and technology doesn't exist on any. It seems unlikely to be able to, thinking about the enormous gas that we're talking ground. So it's like a completely categorical of planning and things down the road safely. Administration after that actually to have to take action. Your predictions on something that doesn't exist, technology that we know works really, really well. I mean, how do we have the fourth largest with 40 to 50 electricity now based on panels? So how did their economy has not collapsed, lots and lots of jobs, as we're saying. So all of this conversation, if we didn't have we not burn of oil every single, but we do. Why is an investment flowing? You know that 20% the total world, 20% of that frack gas. So this is a new area for investment facilitated by the and they are intent on and building more pipelines. 250 million exist in the U.S.
Let's take up the Keystone Pipeline in our next discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on The Real.